Okay. It seems like we got some people who so hell bent on parading this image around, but yet they cannot explain why, despite all their protests and everything, it ain't working. Yes, you constantly see this. You constantly see this on their videos and everything. But despite all their attempts, why it isn't working? In fact, how long this been going on? 3 years. 3 years, zero progress. But I'll go ahead and explain it too. I'm gonna go ahead and just explain it. And this will be the last time I'll come back to this because at this point, despite all the attempts, it seemed like this situation is not going anywhere. In all their claims and assessments been completely refuted. Yet they still believe by parading this around, that's going to make a difference. But before I go any further, yep, it's me again. They hate me, that's why they give a fuck about me at the same time. As always, JD Miles. The MGTOWs, they love to hate. Even the ones that claim everybody loves to hate them, loves to hate MGTOW at the same time. This is why they keep us relevant to this day, and I'm back again. And of course, y'all see the title of the video. Why their attempts of eradicating the Manosphere constantly fails. And why they can't see the forest for the goddamn trees. I mean, 3 years. 3 years they've been at this. And it's clear to see there has been zero progress. The Manosphere is still going strong, despite all the numerous of videos saying otherwise. And just about all their attempts always hit snags, snares, and drawbacks. Now, Lord knows how many times I made videos like this. But I'm going to explain it to you one last time after that, I'm done. I'm done talking about this. The reason why their attempts of stopping the Manosphere is failing is due to a whole lot of factors. The first factor, as you can see it in the front heading, mapping the Manosphere, a social network analysis of the Manosphere on Reddit. But the last time I checked, didn't Reddit remove the Manosphere off their social media site? And furthermore, what did I said about Reddit? Because these retarded fucks still thinking Reddit is supposed to be the end all be all of each and every mail platform, as if Reddit is a representation of all forms of social media. No, it's not. Reddit can only represent Reddit. Out the gate. Excuse me, I just got out. And please pardon as I clear my throat because I just came outside in two below degree weather. Reddit does not represent all forms of social media. Reddit does not represent YouTube. Reddit does not represent Facebook. Reddit does not represent Twitter X. Reddit does not represent Rumble. Reddit does not represent any other social media site besides their own. So what happens on Reddit is not spilling on all other points of social media. And as I said, Reddit is not the end-all be-all. And Lord knows how many times they attempted to use Reddit as a crutch to go after male spaces. The second reason why their attempts to stop in the Manosphere fail. Oh, before I go any further, I want both Homeland Security and I want the FBI to actually see this video and watch me dismantle this all entirely. That being said, the second reason why their attempts of stopping the Manosphere fail is the fact that they think they think the Manosphere is just one big entity. No, it ain't. So it's downright comical to claim that Manosphere are terrorists when in actuality, the Manosphere consists of 7 different groups. And I believe the person who called himself Mapping the Manosphere let it be known. To say the Manosphere are terrorists is to say all groups that form the Manosphere are terrorists, but there's one problem. No, not all the groups in the Manosphere is promoting terrorism. They ain't promoting terrorism. They ain't supporting extremism. They ain't supporting violence nor abuse. And believe me, I, a MGTOW, already let it be known on our side. Violence, abuse, or anything of that matter will not be tolerated in the MGTOW philosophy. And other MGTOW brothers agree on that. So before you call MGTOWs terrorists, I want them to go back and find any record of any MGTOW committing dangerous, violent, and terroristic acts. That's right, they can't. So that completely debunks that argument. And there are other spaces in the Manosphere that could say the same thing. Minus one space that actually does not belong in the Manosphere at all. We'll get to number 3 later, but more importantly, number 3, believing that all the groups in the Manosphere think alike. I'll repeat again, number 3, believing that all the groups in the Manosphere think alike, in which that's false. I mean, for these idiots on the outside looking in, calling themselves going undercover and gathering information, they seem to overlook one thing. Not all groups in the Manosphere see eye to eye. No, we don't see eye to eye on everything. And these groups in the Manosphere have their own way of handling situations, which leads us to the fourth reason why their attempts to stop in the Manosphere is failing. Number 4, inserting incels. And just about every group in the Manosphere is starting to get sick and tired of this shit. One minute they claiming that incels are part of this group, that group, that group. And when that doesn't work, now they want to insert incels in the Manosphere. When in actuality, the incels are in a group of their own. In fact, they have their own forums, their own blogs, they own everything by themselves. And what's more, here's something we have yet to hear an answer from neither the anti-Manispherians as well as the US government's Homeland Security, Secret Service, FBI, what may have you. How does one be both for something while at the same time be against that same thing at the same time? I'll repeat again. How does one be both for and against something at the same time? Now, yes, as I stated, all the groups that form the Manosphere don't see eye to eye, and we have our own way of handling things. But here's a question that still needs an answer. Can a group like the incels be part of the Manosphere if they don't get along with any of the other groups that's part of the Manosphere? I doubt it. In fact, the incels let it be known their disdain for other male spaces. So, with these anti-Manosphere retards, Homeland Security, FBI, trying so hard to make incels part of the Manosphere, they only shooting themselves in the foot, trying to make something work that is an obvious failure. How can incels be part of the Manosphere if they don't even get along, if they have beef with all the other male spaces that form the Manosphere? That don't make no goddamn sense. But then again, that just comes to show everybody what the outsiders who's looking in know of the situation. Even the incels came out refuting those arguments. But look who's trying so hard and so desperate to make a failure work. By the end of the day, the incels are in a group of their own. Let's not try to get into a rant here. Reason number 5 of why stopping the Manosphere is an obvious failure. And pay close attention, because this right here is crucial and critical. They're desperately trying to find a face to put on the Manosphere. Now, what does Uncle JD mean by that? It's simple. They're trying desperate to put a face on the Manosphere. Now, whose faces? Well, let's count the ways here. Kevin Samuels, Andrew Tate, Sneeko, Just Pearly Things. The list goes on and on and on. But there's one problem. All those names I mentioned, they only represent one group of all the many that form the Manosphere. In order to say, for instance, have Andrew Tate be the face of the Manosphere, or Sneeko be the face of the Manosphere, or Kevin Samuels the face of the Manosphere, and so on and so on, those individuals have to represent, and I repeat, those individuals have to represent all the groups of the Manosphere, which is downright impossible. How can one individual represent all the groups of the Manosphere if they agree with one group that's part of the Manosphere, but they completely disagree with all the other groups? See what I mean? See what I mean by that? Andrew Tate, I look at Andrew Tate, Kevin Samuels, I look at them as I look at them as no different than a pickup artist. But how do they represent other groups such as MRAs, MGTOWs, Red Pill, what may have you? Oh, that's the $1 million unanswered question. And the last time I checked, Andrew Tate showed his both Andrew Tate and Kevin Samuels showed their complete disdain for other groups that are part of the Manosphere. So how can they be the face of the Manosphere if that's the case? And the last time I checked, Sneeko, I don't even know why they keep bringing up Sneeko, because Sneeko, last time I checked, left the Manosphere. He broke away, and now he's doing other things. So I don't know why Sneeko is a factor. And I don't know what to say about just pearly things. But that's just my honest opinion on this matter. Number 6. The 6th reason why their attempts to stop in the Manosphere is failing. Obvious bias. Yes, there is a bias. As well as I constantly talk about this, one-sided correctness. Now, one-sided correctness is this belief that, oh, if we get rid of one side, that's a problem, while disregarding the other side, which is also a problem, in which I say the other side is feminism. Come on, if the Manosphere hates women, then let's be upfront and real. Let's be upfront and real, call a strike and a ball, then what do you call feminism? A group of women who hates men. But they don't want to talk about that. They just so focused on trying to get rid of the Manosphere. Which of course, that is not going to work. And yes, I hear the strategies. Yes, I do hear the strategies, and I'm already telling you, it's not going to work. Yeah, and let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. If they do get rid of the Manosphere, you think things are going to go their way? Shit. I believe Andre 3000 gave out the best quote. You could plan a pretty picnic, but you can never predict the weather. You can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather. Off the gate. Yeah, you may think it works, but suppose if they do get rid of the Manosphere, you think that's gonna make the feminists, and the females that hate men change their ways? I don't think so. Hey AI, what did Andre 3000 meant when he said you could plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather? Give me some time here.
When Andre 3000 said, "You can plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather," he was using it as a metaphorical statement to convey that even though you can meticulously plan something and make it look beautiful, you can't control or anticipate unforeseen circumstances or outcomes. It implies that no matter how well you plan, unexpected events or circumstances can still disrupt or alter your plans. The quote is often interpreted as a reminder to remain flexible and adaptable in life, as not everything is within our control.
Thank you. You see, the anti-manosphere retards believe that if they get rid of the manosphere, that's going to make feminism, that's going to make the feminists change their ways, and stop hating on men. Just as much as they believe that by stopping the manosphere, that's going to make men go right back to the plantation. That's going to make men get right back to these toxic relationships. That's going to make men put rings on these women's finger and walk them down the aisle and get married. Guess what? It's wishful thinking. And there's no guarantee by getting rid of the manosphere that's going to make women stop hating men. If anything, that's going to just make them think that, oh, they're above everything. We can hate on men all we want, and how it's going to affect men and young boys. I'll tell you how. The cycle is going to repeat. More male spaces will pop up, taking the place of the manosphere. And then next thing you know, y'all back on square one all over again. In fact, I look at one-sided correctness no different than the so-called war on drugs. It's an endless war. A war that has no end. Sure, they're arresting the dealers, the buyers, and the users. But somehow, those same drugs still wind up on the streets. And I look at it no different than this situation. Basically, these fools who oppose the manosphere, they would rather attack the effect while disregarding the cause. That's like trying to fight a common cold by only taking cough syrup. Sure, you suppress your cough, but what about the other symptoms that comes with the common cold? Sneezy, sniffy, runny nose, congestion. Oh, that's right. Cough syrup doesn't take care of the common cold alone. Too busy fighting the effect while disregarding the cause, and y'all wonder why it's not working. And yeah, y'all can fight the effect, but guess what? As long as the cause is still there, guess what? The effects will still remain. But no one wants to tackle the causes of all this happening. In fact, some would rather baby the cause, thinking that if they beat the effect, things would go back to the way they were. I don't think so. Now let's talk about the bias. And it's clear to see that there's an obvious bias in this situation. Who benefits by the manosphere being eradicated? the feminists and these and these and this and this other bullshit. However, they tend to forget that they're the opposition. That's like, say, for instance, McDonald's in the Ronald McDonald from McDonald's is sleeping with the government in the attempt to get Burger King, Jack in the Box, Whataburger, White Castle, Wendy's, In-N-Out Burger, all these in an attempt to get all these burger joints removed because McDonald's feel like they should be the only ones selling burgers. But the problem is, no one's trying to live. No one gives a damn about the opposition, and it's clear to see that there's a bias going around. And the Manosphere ain't the only one seeing this bias. The people themselves is also seeing this bias. This is why when they thought that CBS and all these biased news outlets made their hit pieces about the Manosphere and all that other bullshit, they thought that people would turn against. But in actuality, it only made people go right back around, did their own research of the Manosphere and the groups that forms it, and now it's grown even larger in size. And by the way, us MGTOWs need to thank these fools too, because now MGTOWs is known universal. That's right, MGTOWs are no longer limited to just the West. Thank you for the free advertisement. The seventh reason why their attempts of stopping the Manosphere is failing. And yes, I do find this utterly stupid and ridiculous. Political bias. All I hear is far right this, conservative that. You do know there are other political groups, right? And the vast majority of people in the Manosphere is neither liberal nor conservative. They're neither far left nor far right. In fact, if they did any research at all, they will also understand that the far right is also stand in the pose of the Manosphere. In fact, they're trying to use far right conservative side to sit there and try to push that the Manosphere is terroristic. Now, that can easily be refutable because last time I checked, the Nashville mass shooter was a far left liberal. The Maine mass shooter is also far left liberal. Even the recent mass shooting out in Iowa, that shooter was also far left liberal. You see, people tend to forget. People tend to forget something in situations like this. Anybody and everybody can be a killer. And yes, y'all know that saying, everybody's a killer. And I'll go on to say this. political sides does not play a key factor. Gender does not play a key factor. You got women and you got men and women portraying these acts of violence. Sexuality does not play a factor. The Nashville shooter and the Iowa shooter all are all part of the alphabet group. So that notion completely flies out the window. Need I say any more? Oh, that's right. Even the subway shooter was a liberal, not a conservative, like how you anti-Manosphereans think. So by the end of the day, it seemed like both political sides have the same problem by the end of the day. The eighth reason why their attempts of stopping the Manosphere is failing is suggesting that, oh, the Manosphere is poisoning the youth. The Manosphere is poisoning the kids. I believe Tom MacDonald said it best. I think it's crazy. I'm the one they label as being controversial, yet Cardi B's the role model for 12-year-old girls. And that lyric from Tom MacDonald completely flew over everybody's head. There's a reason why he said that lyric in his song Fake Woke. And it definitely applies in this situation right here too, because you got the anti-manosphere nut jobs trying to sit there and say, oh, the Manosphere is poisoning young boys and shit. Oh, is that a fact, huh? So basically, the Manosphere is poisoning young boys. But let me get this straight. Drag queens giving out story times to elementary school kids is okay? Oh, but let me think of, oh, but what about this? Feminists having 10-year-old girls dressed in princesses costumes, cursing like sailors while promoting their agenda to hate men and boys. Oh, that's okay. Oh, that's okay. Or how about this? Female rapper / porn star promoting slut culture, telling kids in school that her pussy pink, her booty hole brown, and having kids as young as pre-K begging to hear those lyrics while having their teacher during a meltdown in her car. Oh, that's okay. Oh, it's okay for kids to be exposed to that type of environment. But oh, the Manosphere is poisoning young boys. Have several seats and shut the fuck up forever with y'all goofy asses. If you're gonna call out one problem, you're better off calling out all the problems. And as Uncle JD been saying, don't come for us if you ain't gonna go for them. And a lot of y'all making it, and a lot of y'all complaining about that problem, y'all certainly is quiet with all the other problems that's going on in the schools affecting the kids. Again and again, one-sided correctness. Correcting one side while disregarding the other, thinking that's the best solution. No, it's not. And that's all the reason, and these are all the reasons why their attempts of stopping the Manosphere is failing. And if you don't believe me, let's count the ways even further. Oh, if you see something, say something. How as much as I agree, with the notion, if you see something, then you need to say something. It's funny how ever since this hit piece came out back in 2020, and again out in 2022, how many mass shootings happened after that? Because I lost count. What's even more shocking and complete mind-blowing is the fact that after these mass shootings happen, it comes to find out that the law enforcement knew about these perpetrators. But if they knew about these perpetrators, why didn't they stop them before innocent lives were lost? That's a good question. But then again, how can people say something if they haven't seen, if they don't see the red flags, or the perpetrator themselves don't present that to them in order to say something? Okay then. How about just recently? Homeland Security thought that it'd be a great idea to have a third-party source, the John McCain Institute out in the University of Arizona, to try to push censorship on Twitter X, of all social media, Twitter X. And keep this in mind. The same Twitter X whose owner not only is speaking out against censorship, but the same Twitter X who unbanded Alex Jones. Yeah, that's a great idea. The only problem is, Homeland Security made a big mistake trying to use the John McCain Institute to do their bidding. And as I recall, I made a video about that. Yes, I believe it was the House that summoned the head chief of the Homeland Security about using a third party source to put censorship on social media sites, which need a reminder is considered unconstitutional. Yes, it is unconstitutional for any government office such as Homeland Security to use a third party source to put censorship. Which landed Homeland Security in hot water. This is why during that time when I went on Twitter X, in which their attempt was to reroute people who listens to Andrew Tate and other people of the Manosphere, to reroute them from their videos, their tweets onto shall I say beta male tweets and videos. That failed miserably. Now here we are, 3 years later, 3 years later, what progress had they made? After all, didn't Mapping the Manosphere came out in December 2020? Well, that's what it says. 3 years later, 3 years later, nothing's happening. This comes to show you that there's still a lot they need to learn about the Manosphere. In fact, and shout out to my supporters because I had this discussion with them. Wouldn't it be best for Homeland Security, FBI, and most of these government organizations to at least have a sit down with the Manosphere, have a sit down and have a civil discussion to better understand this situation. And please don't give me that, we do not negotiate with terrorists bullshit. Because maybe by then they will have a clear understanding to where they're going wrong. And believe me, having a sit down and a civil conversation can go a very long way. But that's my solution. But what does everybody else think? We may find out. But nevertheless, I say what I had to say. I'm done with this. Period. And I'm out this bitch. Later.